In our last episode, we learned that all of Sofia's co-workers knew that Sofia was an experiment. They participated in experimenting on her. But at the very end, they were betrayed by the USSA and a nameless board. They, too, were forcibly put into deep sleeper pods, only their pods were outside of the ship's main escape shuttle, which is why they didn't survive the crash. And all this time, Emerson was in charge of it. He not only knew that Sofia was an experiment, but he personally ordered Pandora to escort her coworkers into their sleeper pods. While we were gone, Sofia learned that there was something out there called Arachne, which she thinks is a key to this whole mystery. They were using Serum Z to open her neurological pathways so that she could be a conduit of information to some sort of robot or AI named Athena. And as we learned in our last episode, Pandora, Arachne, and Athena all come from Greek myth. Pandora, the world's first woman, opened Pandora's jar, or box, releasing evil upon the world. That's easily explained by the wreckage that rained down upon Earth. But Arachne was a weaver, and Athena was a goddess. Athena turned Arachne into a spider due to her pride. But how does this myth translate to our reality? If Athena is an artificial intelligence, what exactly is Arachne? To find out, we head to the Uncanny Caverns. We don't find any other marked quests in the game that send us here, so we'll explore it while we're here. Across the road from Uncanny Caverns is a pre-war roadside marketplace. Their goods are still on display even after all of these years. We find some drinks, we see some pre-war protest signs, we find a couple of containers, and a skill level 1 locked box safe. Turning around, we can head towards the Uncanny Caverns, and just outside, we see a sign. The beautiful Uncanny Caverns. We see a bunch of big letters that say Uncanny Caverns in a very Hollywood-land way on the hillside just above the caverns. And from a distance, we see something orange on this hillside overlooking the caverns. If we climb up to this ledge overlooking the caverns, we can explore around the sign. We find that the orange thing was a chair, and next to it is a human skeleton. And man, this guy really chose the way he wanted to go out. In his left hand is a bottle of beer, and in his right hand is a cigar. Nice. Behind him, we find 2 ammo boxes, one of which is locked with a skill level 0 lock, and we find his empties scattered around, with a couple of full bottles, a bourbon, a rum bottle, a couple of old possums, and 1 oak holler lager. The sign itself is quite striking, this close to it and at night. But let's explore this place during the day. The first building we see when we approach the caverns is the gift shop, and it's then that we get attacked by a cave cricket. Moving into the parking lot, we find a billboard, but there's nothing on display here. So moving towards the gift shop, we can head through the main door. Inside, we find another cave cricket. These guys are nasty at this level. I hope they don't end up swarming me. We'll move clockwise. In the middle of the gift shop is a store shelf. We find a bubblegum bear on the ground, a Nuka-Cola, and scrap on the shelves. There's an Etotronic nearby with some pre-war food inside. And there's a cooler and some sugar on the other side of the shelf. There's a door to the west that just leads back outside. Continuing around, we find some empty magazine racks and a hole in the wall that leads back outside. Here we find a dumpster with a skeleton shoved inside. Guess someone was just sick of it and wanted to get it out of their way. We see a door leading to the cashier, but we'll go back into the shop first. We don't find much more on these shelves, so heading behind the counter, we can loot a whiskey, an ammo box, and here we find a mysterious map fragment. Constance. Inside this package is an unmarked map fragment and has a small note attached. Urgent. Constance, take this to my shop. Find all the pieces. F.S. This is part of an unmarked quest, which I already solved in my video on Flavia Stabo. F.S. that you can watch here. On the eastern shelf, we find a rad bear, some buff out, and a toolbox, but that's it for the gift shop. So to continue, we turn east. Here we find a bit of a bridge that appears to go right over the walkway leading to Uncanny Caverns. And peering out a hole to the other side, looks like our path winds around to the left, so we need to go there. Oh no, a swarm! Oh, great! I think I hear a Mirelurk somewhere, but I don't see him. Creeping into the next room. We can start by unlocking a skill level 0 locked bathroom door to the right. Hey! In this bathroom, we find an arrow on the ground and a cooler. There's a duffel bag behind the door, and there's nothing but a mirror in the next bathroom. We find mining equipment and a couple of display cases here. There's a hole in the wall leading behind the building. There's a path off to the right, and we see a gap overlooking the entrance to the cave. We'll hop down there in a minute. Back into the building, we can loot some ammunition on a shelf, and then we find a pre-war skeleton lying behind the counter, possibly an employee. Behind the counter, we find a reception terminal. Uncanny Caverns reception. We find one entry, Tour Guidelines Memo. Welcome. As a new member of the Uncanny Caverns family, part of your job will be to give multiple guided tours a day. Our motto is to give tour guests an uncanny experience. What does this mean to you? 1. Night Kid is real. Seriously. You have to truly believe this to sell it to others. 75% of our vacation traffic comes nationwide from those who have read about Night Kid in the tabloids, and our job is to sell that to them. He was born here, and he remains to this day. We have plenty of literature for you to absorb on the subject before you start leading tours alone. 2. Upsell, upsell, upsell. We've gotten a lot of complaints that our Wild Cave and Extreme Adventure tours are underwhelming, but that means the guides aren't doing their job. People can go anywhere for a natural cavern. They come here for the spooky atmosphere and the Night Kid mythos. It's your job to give that to them. 3. We've gotten reports of some tour guides allowing some really inappropriate things to happen during the lights out portion of the tour. Don't let this be you. Use your common sense and best judgment when it comes to how you conduct yourself. Keep these in mind and you'll no doubt be an upstanding employee. Have an uncanny day. Before we explore the cave, we should first talk about how the Uncanny Caverns is based on real-world West Virginia's Lost World Caverns. And the Lost World Caverns has its own little fictional creature called the Bat Boy, a story invented in 1992 by the tabloid Weekly World News, describing a half-bat, half-boy whom the FBI found in the caves and who had survived by eating his weight in live insects every day. You've probably seen his face. That's how widespread this Bat Boy myth is. Bat Boy was so popular by lovers of tabloids that he was even turned into an off-Broadway musical called Bat Boy the Musical. Bat Boy's story was lovingly nurtured by writers at Weekly World News until the tabloid closed in 2007. In his last story, Bat Boy was hitchhiking across America as a tag-along member of an American family after resigning from being president and king of the United States. He had just recently said goodbye to the love of his life, Beyoncé, who was a half-human, half-Sasquatch. Oh, also he's the lead singer in a death metal band. With this knowledge in hand, I wonder exactly what the story is behind the Night Kid. Backing out, we find a holotape on the counter. The Curse of the Wendigo, Part 1. But we covered this holotape when I did my video on the Wendigo that you can watch here. To the right of the register is yet another terminal, the Transaction Terminal, locked with a skill level 1 lock. Uncanny Caverns, Transactions. We find one entry, Monthly Transaction Revenue, September 2077. Base admission/automated tour narrated by Dick Shale. Adults, $14, ages 13 plus, 1,189 sold. Children, $7, ages 6 to 12, 1,578 sold. Small children free, ages 5 and under, not applicable. Total sales, pre-tax, $27,692. Wild Cave Tour includes base admission, $89, ages 10 plus, 392 sold. Total sales, $34,888. Wow, so they make more money from their Wild Cave Tour than the base admission? Exactly how wild is this tour? Then there's the Extreme Adventure Tour, an all tours bundle plus Devil's Toll Pass, $179, ages 16 plus, 43 sold. Total sales, $7,697. The Devil's Toll passes, a standalone upgrade, $99, ages 16 plus. Only 4 sold. Total sales, $396. Gift store sales, monthly transactions, 762. Total sales, $4,572.29. Total gross sales, September 2077, $75,245.29. Total gross sales, previous month, $84,759.47. Recommendations: increase sales of upgraded tour packages, increase base admission price, remove Devil's Toll standalone passes. Yes, from what we see here, it wasn't very popular. Just over $75K for a month. Man, part of me thinks that's not a whole lot of money in the Fallout universe. Backing out, we see a door in front of us. This is the main entrance. To the right, we find a trash can, and hiding between the wall and the building is some 10mm ammunition. Then continuing east, we cross a bridge, spanning the walkway that leads to the caverns, and there we see that Mirelurk. I'll wait to get him later. At the end of the bridge, we can turn around to see another Uncanny Caverns sign, and here we find the parking lot again. Nothing much in the cars, though we do find a White Springs Resort tour bus here. In the tour bus, we find 1 cooler and 1 human skeleton. That's it for the parking lot, so heading back inside the ticket office, we can continue to the northeast. There's a first aid kit on a push cart, some hard hats on a shelf, I'm supposing they made people wear these before going inside, some ammunition and a tool chest. Out the door, we find the path going down to the south, and creeping around a corner, we can get rid of that Mirelurk. Rounding the corner and continuing down, we pass a skeleton pushing a shopping cart. This must have been a post-war scavenger who died here while scavenging. We'll just find a few drinks and a bit of scrap, one of which is a stuffed polar bear. When ready, we can continue north and enter the Uncanny Cavern. We arrive in a brick-lined passage, but the brick doesn't last for long. Soon, we are in the cave itself. This boardwalk goes all the way down deep into the cave. Hopping atop a cart, we can get a look at the surroundings. There's an area just below the steps, and here we find another cave cricket. Looks like we could jump down here, but let's walk down first and then explore behind. Moving down the boardwalk, we can leap over the rail to loot some buff tats on a crate. Then back on the boardwalk, we can take it down to this first level. Here we find a camera set before an Uncanny Caverns sign backdrop. Looks like this is where visitors to the cavern would take souvenir photographs. I decided to have a go. After all, I'm kind of like a visitor. I'm up for having an uncanny experience. Right, let's get cozy and bingo. Near to a sandwich board, we find human bones on the ground and brain fungus. Brain fungus will be a common theme in this cave. It's a great place to hit when making all sorts of brain fungus and glowing fungus soups. Gunshots. Looks like we're not the only one here. Moving left, we find a skill level 1 locked wooden crate, and continuing around behind the steps, we find another cricket. Okay, but this one's invincible. But he is in the way of something. Let's sneak on over there. Oh, all right, just a cooler. And yeah, this guy's glitched. That's everything behind the stairs. So continuing north, we find a speaker next to an empty Nuka-Cola machine. And this speaker is labeled Speaker Number 1. This is Uncanny Caverns Audio Tour Station 1.
Greetings, adventurers. I'm Dick Shale. You may remember me from automated tours at locations such as the Fancy Lads Factory and Prickett's Fort. Your journey begins in the Winding Gateway. As you descend the staircase, you travel back to an ancient land, millions of years old and perfectly preserved in time. Time travel sure works up an appetite, so guests with an upgraded tour plan can grab a complimentary box of Dandy Boy apples. Yes, Dandy Boy apples. So good, they never go bad. After our photographer captures the memory of a lifetime, head down the wooden path to learn the fascinating and mysterious history of the world-famous Uncanny Caverns.
Dick Shale, we recognize that voice. We first met him when I did my video on Prickett's Fort. It was one of my first Fallout 76 videos that you can watch here. Peering over the side, we see that the cave goes even deeper, and we see another Mirelurk. Taking the winding gateway all the way to the ground, we find another Mirelurk. At the bottom of the winding gateway, next to a bunch of scrap and a skeleton leaning against some crates, we find Uncanny Caverns audio tour station number 2.
Congratulations on making it all the way down the winding gateway. A feat powered by the refreshing fuel of Dandy Boy apples. During this self-guided tour, you'll experience majestic natural formations that evoke an otherworldly sense of awe and reverence. You'll also hear tales of the dark and mysterious Night Kid who leapt from the depths of these caverns into the imaginations of millions worldwide. Head left to continue the tour, and please stay on the wooden path.
Well, it looks like someone ignored his advice. We find a skeleton and a skull off the wooden path. But before continuing down the boardwalk, we can see what's back here. Though we don't get rewarded much for our efforts, we just find a bunch of brain fungus and a toolbox. Though we can get rid of a Mirelurk spawn. Here we see a number 10. Oh, so it looks like this is where the self-guided tour comes out. Well, let's do this the right way, so passing a ruined piano and looting a tool case, we can circle back to the number 2, and as it instructed, continue north down the boardwalk. Moving into another room, we find another Mirelurk. We see another recording right next to a large pillar, but before we can activate it, oh no. A level 50 Mirelurk King. Oh, come on. My character's in her late 20s. I'm already killing level 30 Mirelurks, and now I've got a level 50 Mirelurk King? Well, this isn't my power armor character. I started this adventure with one broken weapon. I suppose I should have been more prepared. This Mirelurk King chased me all the way to the entrance. Heading outside for safety. Ow! And he followed me outside. Racing all the way up the ramp, we can try to take a few shots. And we're not even making a dent. He chased me all the way into the White Springs tour bus. And there he kind of stayed outside. Thankfully, this guy was too big to fit inside the tour bus, and so it was just a matter of leaping out to take pot shots, healing up every now and then, rinse and repeat until I finally got him. Oh, you're kidding. Broke with my kill shot. Oh, great, now I've got 2 broken weapons. Oh, and this one's almost broken too. Well, hopefully we won't have to kill much more. Racing back inside, we can take the boardwalk all the way back down to where we were. Let's see, what number is this? Uncanny Caverns audio tour station number 3.
You're now in the royalty room, made up of 3 beautiful natural columns named the King, the Knight, and the Squire. Fun fact, columns are formed by the natural union of stalagmites and stalactites over many years. The King column is over 200,000 years old. When first surveyed, the royalty room was filled with 2 tons of litter and dead livestock dumped by local farmers through a now collapsed hole. Head left to continue the tour, and remember, no littering.
That's actually a true story. Before the Lost World Caverns became a tourist attraction, local farmers had also dumped dead animals and garbage through a hole in the top of the caverns. And like Uncanny Caverns, the Lost World Caverns has their own themed rooms, and each column has a name. The boardwalk continues off to the right, but directly in front of us to the north, we find self-guided tour marker number 4.
Before you is the entrance to the Night Kid room, where the mysterious half-man, half-bat was first discovered. Night Kid was found in complete darkness and surrounded by bats. He was 2 feet tall, weighed 19 pounds, and had been feeding on moths to survive. You can explore this part of Appalachian history and more at a reasonable price as part of our Wild Cave Tour, sold separately. Head right to continue the tour. Please let members of premium guided tours pass before proceeding.
Oh god, how annoying. You buy a ticket to explore the cave and you don't even get to explore the whole cave. They've got the special Night Kid room in its own price package. We do find a human skull on the ground. Could that be from the Night Kid? And could the Night Kid's feasting on moths have any connection to the Mothman? Creeping forward, we see that the path before us is booby-trapped. And I can't disarm traps with this character. Well, maybe we can leap over it. But a cave cricket! I wonder if cave crickets will trip the trap. Let's lure him over here and see. No. Guess not. Hey, get back here! Oh, lame. I guess traps are only for us. Leaping over the trap again, we find that the Night Kid room is really just a small room. And it looks like one of the apocalypse survivors wasn't too scared of the Night Kid. Someone turned this into a little camp. We find a cooking stove here. To the left, we find a pulse mine on the ground. Glad that wasn't active. A cooler, some beverages lying out. Looks like someone was making booze here. We find a still next to a box filled with cranberry moonshine. And here we find the former occupant, a settler, lying dead on his mattress. On a box near to his head is Curse of the Wendigo, Part 2, which again, we already explored in my video on the Wendigo. After looting a duffel bag and an ammo box next to him, we can grill up all of our cricket meat, leap over the trap, and continue the tour to the left. Soon we reach marker number 5.
Before you leave the royalty room, we'd like you to experience the decades-old tradition of listening for Night Kid. Some say if you're quiet enough at the right time of day, you can hear Night Kid scurry around the dark recesses of the cave ceiling. Now, everybody in the tour group, take a brief moment of silence, if you dare. When you're done, head down the stairs to continue the tour. Please watch your step.
Well, I don't see anything on the ceiling, and I don't hear any more scurrying. But with all these Wendigo holotapes lying around, I wonder if we'll find a Wendigo. Before continuing on the guided tour, we can explore back here off the beaten path. We find a mod lying next to a toolbox in some garbage, some brain fungus, and then next to some human bones, a body right before an unmarked opening. It's the body of a blood eagle predator. Could this have been the source of the gunfire we heard earlier? But what killed him? The Mirelurk King, I'd wager. But this passage doesn't have a number. There's no audio marker. Where does it lead? Creeping forward, it's not long until we find a cymbal-clacking monkey. Take this! Doggone monkeys. And the path is booby-trapped with a punji board. But scooting around it, we can loot a first aid kit, and here we find the skeleton of a man holding a banjo. Next to his body is another mod and a bottle of whiskey. I stopped for a screenshot. Poor old guy just wanted to play some banjo, but the Mirelurks wouldn't let him be. Continuing down the path, we see that it lets out at the wooden walkway. What? Does this just go in a loop? And here we find marker number 9. Oh, it's part of the tour, but we came in on the wrong end. Oh, well, we gotta do this the right way. Turning back around, passing our banjo guy, scooting around the punji board, and moving through the royalty room back to the walkway, we can continue as the tour intended, down the staircase bathed in purple light. It's not long until we find another speaker before marker number 6.
In front of you is the Halfling Hole, the second stop on our guided wild cave tour. The Halfling Hole, so named for its cozy size and quaint surroundings, features a natural pool with water so pure it has to be tasted to be believed. It is thought that the reason Night Kid was able to thrive for so long here is the abundant sources of shelter, fresh water, and bugs for protein. Head right to continue the tour. We remind guests to please not enter the Halfling Hole without a premium tour badge.
Oh, and of course it's wrapped up in a premium tour. But Halfling Hole? Does that mean that Tolkien is part of the Fallout universe? There was a skeleton here with a big board. And ignoring the tour for now, we can explore the Halfling Hole. There's another punji board here we gotta leap over. And, yeah, there's the pool. And the stream looks like it's groundwater leaking into the cave, forming this really small pool. But is it as pure as Dick Shale would like us to believe? Nope, radioactive. Doggone you, Dick Shale. There's some scrap over here and a toolbox. We find more bottles here, man. All these dead guys love their booze. There's a random plant on one of these crates with some ammunition. And next to another box filled with empty booze is a first aid kit. Ah, so much for the halfling hole. Heading out and back to the boardwalk, we can continue with the tour. Along the way, we find more scrap and a few more human skeletons. And then, more Mirelurks. With the Mirelurks dead, we can examine these skeletons more closely, and this one appears to have armed himself. Looks like he died in battle, using a trash can lid as a shield and a machete as a sword. He died a long time ago. The blood spatter beneath him is blackened and flaky. Did the Mirelurks kill him, or the Night Kid? Continuing along the path, we find guided tour marker number 7 right next to a danger, deep cold water, do not swim sign. Looks like there's a pool ahead. Well, of course, we're gonna have to explore it. And here we can listen to audio tour station number 7.
The next stop in our tour is the impressive Poseidon's Passage, so named after the ancient Greek god of the sea, earthquakes, storms, and horses. The impressive stalactite and stalagmite to your left, known as the Trident, will one day come together to form a massive natural column. The natural cave water here is filtered through the cavern rock over centuries and is pure enough to bathe a newborn child in. Cross the bridge to continue the tour. For legal reasons, we encourage guests to stay on the trail and away from the water.
Well, if the water's pure enough to bathe a newborn baby, surely I can take a dip, right? Oh no, that's toxic water. Oh, great. Well, let's do it for the video. Oh, and we take on a lot of rats. Now let's get out. Climbing some rocks to the left, we see a skeleton up here by some glowing fungus, and it's only a partial skeleton, the skull is gone. Here we find a stealth boy next to some rat-away and a first aid kit. Maybe he was trying to sneak in here for some reason, but failed horribly. And next to this we find a bobblehead, cleverly hidden away. Don't mind if I do. But that's it for this rocky ledge. Looks like we've got to get wet again. Hopping down, we can try to climb the Trident, but there's nothing at the top of it. We see another rocky ledge on the other side of the bridge. Well, we'll have to explore over there. Hopping down to the boardwalk, we see the skeleton of a woman, and she died pushing her baby. I'd like to think that all of these pre-war baby carriages we find laid out in this world were empty, but that doesn't seem likely. Leaping across, we can explore the rocks up here, but there's nothing up here. And diving back into the water, it's not as deep as Dick Shell led us to believe. We don't find anything at the bottom of the toxic pool. So we surface on the other side, loot more brain fungus and glowing fungus. And here we find tour marker number 8.
The third stop on our premium Wild Cave tour is the Dead End, where the final standoff between Night Kid and the federal marshals took place. Night Kid, now an aggressive 5-foot-tall predator, was cornered and captured by the marshals after a lengthy and deadly chase through the caverns. He remained in captivity for a decade before he was freed under mysterious circumstances and returned to the caverns where he lives to this day. Step up the right path to continue the tour. Watch out for bats.
This is again a reference to Batboy, who was likewise captured by the FBI and escaped captivity time and time again. Let's explore this wild cave. There's a ruined shopping cart and a tipped-over mining car just outside, and like all of the others, the entrance to this is booby-trapped. And peering in, we see a corpse and a cricket. Oh, great. 3 broken weapons. What have I got? 10 mil. I was trying to go for a revolver aesthetic with this character, but it's always wise to keep a backup 10 mil. After leaping over the booby trap, we can explore from left to right. We find a settler corpse draped over a lawn chair. He had made a makeshift workshop here, complete with a sawhorse used for tanning hides. Lots of junk laid out on this workbench, and in the eastern corner, we find an end-of-dungeon steamer trunk with Arachne. Oh, but it's booby-trapped. Tripping it. And Nothing. Well, okay. I'll take it. Moving back to the steamer trunk, we can loot a recipe on a card table and then loot Arachne. Examining it on our Pip-Boy. Arachne Program, Alpha, Statue Untested. Statue Untested? Maybe they meant status untested? Athena Kill Switch. Notes, this will destroy the Athena hub. May harm anything connected to it. AI preservation possible with compatible host. Never tested. M. Caldera. Command kill sequence. Call shutdown on brain. Search connections for host. If host confirmed, AI/persona run transfer end. Run Arachne module. Call delete on brain. With this, I think we can interpret this story's connection with the Greek myth. Athena, the goddess, destroyed Arachne's tapestry and turned her into a spider. But spiders are venomous. And this spider's venom is a kill switch designed to kill Athena in revenge. So Arachne is a kill program that destroys Athena, but it says here that it may harm anything connected to the Athena hub. Is Sofia still connected to Athena? Could that somehow explain her headaches? If we use Arachne to kill Athena, would we be killing Sofia? In this room, we find more scrap and another settler corpse. I read that a bobblehead is supposed to appear on this ledge above the settler corpse, but I never found one here the many times I came to explore. We find a couple of sleeping bags here that we can use to rest on up. Oh, and accidentally get diseased. Great. Hopping over the trap, we can head back to the self-guided tour boardwalk. Following it up to the west, we at last arrive at marker number 9, and we see our banjo guy deep in there, listening to the recording.
Now we arrive at the infamous Devil's Offering, a tight and dangerous connection through the middle of the cavern to the royalty room. It is said that only those who offered a toll to the devil could get through this tight passage unscathed. Travel through Devil's Offering is only available by purchasing the Extreme Adventure Tour upgrade. Inquire at the gift shop to learn more. Head left to reach the final stop of the tour.
So they're just finding big holes and tunnels in this cave and making up any sort of strange story to seem it more exciting, giving it a dangerous and alluring name. Looks like the strategy worked. They made more money from their upgraded tours than their standard admission. Continuing to follow the boardwalk, this lets us back out to where we first began. And here we find the final one, marker number 10.
The final stop of the self-guided tour is where it all began, the War Room. It inspires both fear and respect from its size and massive formations. In the center of it all is Odin's Tooth, the largest natural cavern formation in Appalachia. It is truly a breathtaking sight to behold. We thank you for spending your time with us at Uncanny Caverns and encourage you to return soon for the Wild Cave and Extreme Adventure Tours. Head left up the stairs to exit, and please visit the gift shop on the way out. Thank you, and have an uncanny day. This is Dick Shale, signing off.
Okay, I actually really like Dick Shale. I mean, he's annoying, but that's why I like him. Now, before Wastelanders dropped, every time I came to the Uncanny Caverns, I would find a Wendigo. And I thought this was intentional since we do find the Wendigo holotapes here, and there was all that talk about listening for the scuffling, which I thought was supposed to refer to the Wendigo. But for some reason, while recording footage for this video, every time I came here, I never found a Wendigo. Even on my power armor character, the toughest monster I ever fought was the Mirelurk King. So part of me wonders whether or not they cut the Wendigo from the cavern. At any rate, with that, we finish exploring the Uncanny Caverns, and we can retrace our steps all the way back to the entrance before making our way back to Sofia. And when we arrive, we find Emerson waiting for us.
You're both here. Good. I know about Athena, Emerson. I know what you've done to me.
You should know that her link to you isn't severed. I look into your eyes, Sofia, and she's there, watching all of us.
What the hell are you talking about?
She has the same response to both of these options, so we'll say, I have Arachne. You need to read it.
Let me see. So, we can destroy Athena. With this.
Don't you understand? She's watching you. Watching us. Right now.
Why did you come back to Appalachia? Really?
For a long time, I thought the old USSA backup facilities were gone. Heard a lot of rumors about it. Figured everyone was dead. Then I heard people were coming back here. Decided I should be sure it was over. Tagged along with some nobodies, made it here with one goal. To blow up Athena. But then Sofia lived. And it was complicated because I knew Athena was holding her hostage. And I had to find another way.
Why did you force the scientists into pods too?
It was cheaper this way. After we achieved orbit, we were told that our program was getting cut entirely, due to lack of results. The scientists on the ship had exposed the program to the oversight board, and we had deals with Arctos, Robco, others. We were ruined. I was ruined. Putting them in the pods gave us until 2080, when another crew was scheduled to take their place. We thought we had enough time. I resigned and paid a fine for some ethics violations. I was hired by Robco afterwards for triple my salary. That was that.
Oh, of course Robco wouldn't care about his ethics violations and hires him anyway. And we learned that it was the scientists, her coworkers, the same people who participated in this experiment, who reported the experiment to the oversight board. Perhaps they had some integrity after all. Emerson, did you cause the Deep Sleep's ship to crash?
Exactly how could I do that? No, I didn't. The ship was supposed to switch to the secondary power cells a while ago, when Dr. Lee was unavailable. The ship's Pandora bot initiated Blue Sunset, which landed the ship near the strongest active USSA beacon.
So it did run out of fuel, but Dr. Lee could have prevented the crash. But he was in a pod, asleep. Though I don't know how he could have lasted 26 years in orbit without the pod. Look, if we destroy Athena, will it hurt Sofia?
Yes, it might hurt. A lot. Maybe permanent damage. But keeping that thing connected will kill Sofia.
There was an intelligence check here, but I couldn't pass it, so I couldn't capture that dialogue. Instead, we can say, I have nothing more to say to you. We have Arachne. We're shutting Athena down.
I had hoped that Dr. Nowak created some sort of shutdown routine for Athena. But almost everything was destroyed in the wreck.
This has to end. I never agreed to any of this in my contracts.
Well, actually you did. The contracts were very thorough and extremely obtuse. You could have never known.
Can Athena control Sofia at all?
No, the neural pathways aren't compatible. It's a very simple robotic intelligence designed to passively observe and collect.
What was Athena's purpose? We might need to know.
It was a government contract, supposed to keep the peace, ensure societal tranquility. I don't know, really. I just authorized everything. Who was I to stand up to all of them? I should have, though. I know that now.
Typical bureaucratic cog. It's not his fault. He's not responsible. But after all of these years, he does seem remorseful. So you didn't tell us any of this earlier because Athena would hear?
Yes. I couldn't tell Sofia, obviously. And I didn't know if I could trust you or if you would even believe anything I said. I figured if she started to suffer, I would do anything to help. Until then, I searched for Dr. Nowak's lab. Thought the kill switch would be there.
I found the kill switch with the scanner. Seems like it was written by somebody else. Not Dr. Novak. Somebody local.
I'll show you where you need to go. I'll shut down some of the internal power lines, so Athena can't detonate anything inside the facility. In some sort of, I don't know, revenge. It's a primitive robotic system. It drove the robo-brains insane, you know.
This is a really interesting bit of lore, because Sofia says that Arachne wasn't written by Novak or Lee or any of her fellow employees. It was written by someone local. And when we look at the holotape, we see that the kill switch was written by M. Caldera. M. Caldera is none other than responder Miguel Caldera. We learn from the primary story in the game that Miguel, before the war, was a programmer for Vault Tech, which explains his ability to write this kill switch. He's the one who programmed all of the responder automated kiosks we find in Flatwoods, in Charleston, and at the Morgantown airport. During the course of the primary plot, we tragically find him lying dead at his camp near the Morgantown airport. He has a really interesting story that I'll cover when I do the full story of Fallout 76. But I think we can deduce from all of this that after the bombs dropped, after he joined the responders, while he was working for them, he discovered the Athena hub, knew that whatever it was, it couldn't be good, and so he wrote this kill switch, which he apparently buried in Uncanny Caverns in case the responders ever got rid of the scorched threat and needed to get rid of Athena. Look, we've got the kill switch. We can kill Athena, but it's Sofia's choice.
Up to her then, I suppose?
If we were ever friends, if any of that life before ever mattered, just fix this.
Emerson, you're pathetic. You better help us.
I know. And I'm sorry. I know it doesn't sound real. I've wandered around for decades thinking of what I did. Imagining them up there. Saying I'm sorry doesn't mean anything anymore. I will do what I can. That's all I have left.
Thanks for your help, Emerson.
I wish I could change the past. I'm sorry. We'll end this, okay? If it's the last thing I do, we'll end this. I'll make this right. I promise. And thank you, Sofia. I don't deserve it. But thank you. Your ship crashed here because Athena is here. She's in a restricted section of Sugar Grove. You need to find a way in. I lost my USSA keycard long ago. But surely you can find another? I'm sorry. That's all I can do.
As Emerson walks off, we can talk with Sofia.
So, this is a kill switch, huh? It deletes whatever Athena is entirely. Well, let's try this before we try the hammers, I guess. Once Athena's dealt with, maybe I'll finally feel whole. We need a USSA access card. I have the Sugar Grove personnel records. My hope is you can find an access card here.
Can we trust Emerson?
He sounded sincere. And if he really was worried anything I saw or heard was being intercepted, I mean, it kind of holds together. Or it could be a lie. I just don't know.
That's a good point. Why would Emerson even be here, trying to help Sofia if he had ulterior motives? Can we trust that he's really changed? Well, Sofia, do we know anything about Athena?
Very little. Before all this, all I ever overheard was the name. That's it. But she's been spying on me for years. And I hope it's just that.
Find the access card. You got it.
I just want this nightmare to be over. Thank you.
Do you plan to stay in Appalachia when this is all over?
I don't know where else I would go. Everyone I knew is probably long gone by now. I think I'll stay here and watch out for you for a change. It's only fair, my friend.
Why do we need this access card?
It should give us, well, access to the Athena unit, which will allow us to use the Arachne program and delete the connection entirely. In theory, I'll be free. No more headaches. Free.
I'll be back, Sofia.
Affirmative. Out.
With that, we complete the quest. Who sat down beside her? And begin the quest, Lab Rat. Find a way to access the USSA lab. This quest sends us to the US-13C bivouac, where apparently the access card is kept. But sadly, we're all out of time. We'll pick up right here where I leave off in my next episode. I publish new Fallout videos each and every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss that episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other items as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members and patrons on Patreon are becoming increasingly important as YouTube continues to make platform changes that make the future of YouTube monetization uncertain. So to all of my YouTube members and my patrons on Patreon, you have my deepest thanks. I couldn't do this without you. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.